Hey everybody, Greg here from another episode of Greg's Bonsai. Today we're gonna go kind of back to the beginning of my journey. Not all the way back, but this is a Fukien tea tree. I actually got this guy back in February of this year. I had started doing some seeds and getting them ready. And I was just out at Lowe's one day and I saw this guy on the clearance rack. He looked really bad, not green like this at all. And he was just looking malnourished, but it was half off. And I said, you know what? I want to try and bring it back. So as you can see, it's still alive. we're 3/4 of a year past where I bought it. And I just kind of fed it, repotted it. The pot, this is a bonsai training pot. I have bonsai soil in here. I kind of just went all in on this guy to try and see what I could do. I also have little pieces, like you can see here, of fertilizer. It's sprinkled around into the ground. But this is this is a couple years old now. So it's hardy. It's got some life. You can see that a lot of this is like bright green foliage. I do have a little bit of darker foliage here. The leaves are a little bit bigger on the under canopy area. And I've actually trimmed this guy a couple times. I've held back putting this guy on my channel only because I was really worried that if I did, something horrible would happen to this guy. But we're going to tempt fate. So this is my Fukien tea tree. I fear that I will mess up that name while we're talking. But if we zoom in here a little bit, let me see if I can just kind of zoom in just a little bit to 2 times. We can kind of see the flowers. Okay, so these guys have already been expelled. They're done. But we do have right up here a beautiful example of what the flowers look like on this guy. And they're beautiful. During the day, now this is nighttime when I'm filming this, but during the day, when this thing is flowering hard, and I'm going to try and get a picture of it for you guys. I think I do have a few old pictures that I took of this. During the day when this thing's flowering, it's beautiful. It looks really great. I have not had this outside yet. This has been purely indoor. During the summer, I've had a couple lights on it. And during the time when I bring in my lemons and my other subtropical type things, and I put them in my grow tent, this guy goes in there along with the ficus. And I've noticed, and I've pre-pruned this like a week ago already. I had a lot of there's an app that I use and it says that this guy is easy to maintain. And then when I looked online after I bought this guy from Lowe's, they said this is the most temperamental plant that you'll ever have. Just because if you change its atmosphere or where it's at, it will be very mean to you. And that's kind of true. A lot of the leaves that I had on here that I trimmed off, they had like blackness to them. They were dying out. And that's just the changing of climate for these guys. So my tent is somewhere in the 60s, 70s usually. During the day when the lights come on, it can get up in the low 80s. I do have a humidifier in there, just kind of keeping things at a constant humidity. But the nice thing about this, you can see these leaves are very waxy looking. They're very shiny. And that's kind of cool. And that's how you can kind of tell that it's healthy. This guy has consistently been this way. And as soon as I get rid of those leaves and I trim it out, like down here, we'll start down at the bottom where you can see this wonderful moss kind of starting to come in. And that's kind of been a pet project of mine, is trying to put moss on the ground of this. And it's finally starting to finally appear. after all this time, which is cool. I do have a little bit of dead moss, but that'll grow back. But a lot of this just started from the ground up. And I'm just gonna kind of detail a few things just so I can document this on the channel. Now, before I potted it in this guy, it was in one of those self-watering containers where it had like a small pot and then a little bit bigger pot where you dump the water in, and it would just do that water wicking type thing. And in the ground, this guy was actually upright. Okay, so it was a straight upright plant like this. Okay, which I didn't really like. So I decided to put it in an angle like this. I just thought that looked neater. And it had like a more of a triangular shape coming out. So the canopy was already, you know, this triangle. So the canopy was already going out on this angle. And the dirt in the pot was actually like up to this level here. I think they wanted to hide this guy right here, which I have not snipped off. I'm thinking about doing that. But the other cool thing about this tree is that when I water the dirt and the soil on this, you can actually tell that this guy is being hydrated because it gets wet all the way up here to kind of where it was under the ground. So it's kind of neat to know, okay, I need to water this because this guy is actually telling me when his trunk is dry, that's the time to water. Okay, so I do have a little bit of water in here now. It is damp and moist. The tray is actually dry right now, but this guy is doing phenomenal in just holding the water. And then as you kind of come up here, there is a split here on coming up. I mean, it was already kind of cut right here. And I've just recently used my tools and cut this down a little bit, and it's already starting to kind of build over, which is great to see. And then here's an example. Let me see if I can zoom in. Here's an example of what dead leaves kind of look like right here. Okay, so I've been slowly having to pull those kind of guys off just because, you know, the lighting changes and things like that, and the leaves start getting a little bit bigger up here. And I haven't really worked on shrinking the leaves or anything like that, but I have worked on like the under canopy and making sure that this trunk line is visible, and then this kind of line is visible. This I will have to work on a little bit just on this side to make sure that that line is visible as well, but working on it slowly. It's really been, this has been one of my pet projects to keep alive. And I haven't done, like, this whole area up here is very busy right now, and it's getting a little higher. When I started this, I think he was down around this level. So I'm gonna have to look at doing something with this. I have been just kind of slowly trimming it back just to see what it does. I want this to get a little thicker down here, and I am soon gonna have to make a decision about this because there's two lines together, and I just don't like that. And I think we're gonna see some competition. Even though this one is going to the left and this guy is going to the right, it's not good to have this crossover. So I think eventually I'm gonna be getting rid of this guy, especially since it comes out right about where this main leader is. So just some things that I've slowly been thinking about through the past couple months, now that this guy I know is living and maturing and things like that. I also want, hopefully next summer, to put this guy outside, only because I want to see if berries will form on these flowers once they're pollinated. There's been no pollination here. I don't have any bees or anything like that, any bugs to do that. Although I did find a really huge spider underneath one of these leaves up here before I started taping. So I had to, you know, get rid of him and kind of put him outside. I just didn't really want him on here killing this plant, everything that I've worked for, you know. But I think this is really the front of the plant. I do have, you know, some growth in the back of it coming out. I did have a little bit of growth coming out here as well, but I've decided to trim that off. It just wasn't looking right anymore. And I just kind of wanted to open this up so there was more visual down here. But I will probably end up, again, trimming something here just so that it does look a little cleaner. But I can do that in the winter, and that shouldn't be a problem. This guy, as soon as I take care of all those old leaves that were looking bad, this guy just starts filling out and getting stronger. You can already see, like up here, I've got some new growth already coming out. And you can see that just with the green. This stuff was new probably a couple months ago, and it's already woody. So it's really neat to see this stuff transform really quickly, especially on this tree. So yeah, a lot of people have said this is difficult. I have not seen that, and you know, the tent is probably helping me with that. It almost seems as easy as a ficus that I have. I hate to say that because now it's gonna come back and yell at me, but I have not seen any issues with that. And like I said, I'll probably have to get rid of like these big leaves here, just to kind of give it some life on these smaller leaves. And now that it's like really underneath the grow light, it does not need this kind of big leaf to support itself. But the canopy is definitely filling out. We'll probably see leaves down here kind of die off just because I can't get the light. So I will eventually have to make some decisions here, like I said, about what I want to trim. But I wanted kind of a reference point on this before I start making any kind of big cuts, and just so you guys can see what I have here and what I'm working with. So if you have any questions, please let me know down below. I do really like this plant. I think it's beautiful. I think it has a lot of great life to it. And for me, it was a real test just to see if I could bring it back from the clearance rack. You know, Lowe's, like I said, just kind of put it out there. And again, it's probably just because it was there for a long time, but getting it half off and knowing that I could do this has really been a confidence booster. And it was like a real big stepping stone for me from where I was just killing seedlings and things like that. So when you go through your bonsai journey, just remember that you're gonna start somewhere. And that even if it doesn't succeed right away, just to keep trying, because you really learn from your mistakes. And I have really done that. I've really taken the time, and this year has really been more about patience and trying to figure that out. And just try to see what it's like growing things that are a little different, you know? So again, this is my Fukien tea tree. It's been in my life since February. So about 8 or 9 months now. And this guy is definitely a few years old. I would say at least 3 or 4 years old. And it's just, I've grown attached to it. So, like I said, if you like this, make sure to hit that like button. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you have your own tea tree, I would love to see it. Just make sure to comment down below and I can try and have a look with you. And if you have one, let me know what do you think of it? Because, I mean, these guys have just, like I said, it's kind of stolen my heart. I hate to say it that way, but it has. And if you really did like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check out my other videos on this channel. I have a lot of different trees on there, and make sure to check them out. If you have any requests, make sure to put them down in the comments down below as well. I'm getting to that point where I'm gonna start putting some new seeds in my fridge and start the cold stratification process to get them ready for the spring. And you know, just start growing some trees in the garage here and up in the grow tent. So until next time, guys, this is Greg's Bonsai. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.